Ever wished that your home felt like a magical enchanted forest filled with moss and mushrooms? If so, keep watching because today we are doing 5 whimsical fairy forest crafts together to transform any space into a cozy escape. So make yourself a cup of tea, grab your hot glue gun, and let's get crafting.
Welcome back to my Whimsical Fairy Office. Now you may remember last year we did 5 DIYs together to transform this space from boss babe chic into a magical fairyland, and today we're doing 5 more crafts because honestly I can't stop my brain from coming up with new ideas, and I really don't think you could ever be too whimsical. Now some of these DIYs are super duper easy, quick, and cheap to do. Other ones require some patience and power tools. But what I'm most excited for is a major upgrade to this space that I've literally been dreaming about for a year now, and really hope that it ships here in time so I can share it with you. But while we wait, let's dive into the first DIY. That was low-key a complete fail the first time I tried it. Okay, complete fail may have been a little bit harsh for this adorable mushroom toadstool I made, but honestly, it was one of those ideas that popped in my head in the middle of the night, and I realized I had all of the materials, so I kind of just threw it together, but it's legitimately just like a circular meditation pillow, some red fabric, and felt white circles I have that are literally held on by like double-sided tape. Like, this is not legit at all. So today we're going to give it a little bit of a refresh and make it more mushroom shaped, but also more sturdy, so that way I can actually use it as a footstool when I'm sitting on my bench.
To make your own magical mushroom toadstool, you are going to need something to use as your base. Personally, I'm using this log that I put some felt pads on the bottom of, so that way I can easily move it on the floor without scratching it up. And then you're also going to need a circular piece of plywood. Shout out to my wife for cutting this one up for me. She's definitely the one who uses all the power tools in this relationship and has already informed me that a jigsaw would have made this project much easier and that she would like one for Christmas. So if you don't have one of those, you can also find a circular piece of wood at most home improvement stores. And then head over to the craft store to get yourself some cushion foam that you're going to cut up for the actual seat, as well as some red fabric. I found one that was kind of stretchy, so it would make it easier to pull over the whole mushroom top, and then some white felt that you're going to cut into circles to make all of the spots. And then lastly, you're going to need a heavy-duty stapler. You can find this at most craft stores, and a hot glue gun or a sewing machine if you feel like being fancy. Now that you have all your supplies, let's DIY this toadstool. Get it? Toadstool. Okay, anyways, first up, you are going to cut one of your pieces of foam into a circle the same size as your base, and then cut 3 additional layers that are all slightly smaller, kind of as if you were making a 4-tier cake. Not that I've ever done that before, but I've watched a lot of Spring Baking Championship, and I'm pretty sure this is exactly how they would do it.
Okay, now that I have a rough mushroom, honestly like 4-tier cake here, I am going to hot glue it all down to the plywood so that way it stays when I go to like staple the fabric around it. But I'm also going to add a couple little extra like scraps that I have left over to like fill in any gaps, because like I said, it's a 4-tier cake. I'm really hoping when I stretch the fabric over it, it's going to condense a little bit and give us that nice mushroom dome, but I guess we'll see. I am figuring this out right along with you.
So after you glue down all of that foam and all of the layers to your plywood, you are then going to create some foam sheets just by ripping apart layers of that cushioning. It helps smooth everything out. It kind of acts like the fondant to our cake, but I just need to take a second of silence to listen to the sound because it is so satisfying. So good. And then next you are going to attach the top of your mushroom to the base using a screw, so that way it's nice and sturdy.
And all that's left to do is take this red fabric and drape it over top, and then staple it underneath like you do to reupholstery things, which I have never done, but I've seen people do on the internet, and it doesn't look that hard, so we're gonna figure it out. And then lastly, I have to hot glue these white felt circles on top, and we are done. So let's get to finishing off this mushroom toadstool.
The last little tip I have for you is to get the hot glue as close to the edge as possible so that way you get a really secure seal, or sew it if you're talented like that. But let's finish this up and get to the reveal.
And with that, we are done with our first furry craft for the week. And I love how this toadstool turned out. It is just so much more sturdy, so much more put together looking, so much more functional. Like, I'm definitely gonna sit at this bench and use this little toadstool now so much more, because I can now like comfortably use my laptop or read here. So I'm really, really excited that we prioritized this and made it a lot better for me. But I'm really excited for our next craft, because it is something that I've seen go viral the past couple of months online, and it looks really easy. It makes a huge impact in every space I've seen people use it, but I've never personally done it, kind of like this craft. So we're gonna do it together and see how it goes. But right now I have to hop on a call with my business besties. So it's gonna have to wait till tomorrow, and I guess I'll see you then. If you've seen this little bottle of paint online, you know exactly what we are doing today, and I'm so excited for it because we are turning my office door into a big, beautiful stained glass mural, and it's gonna be cute. I'm thinking mushrooms, frogs, vines, leaves. Like, it is going to be the epitome of a whimsical fairy forest, and I don't think I can wait any longer, so let's dive into it.
The only thing you'll need to make your own stained glass painting is this special gallery glass paint, which I will link in the description below so you can easily find it.
So when I was watching the tutorial online, it said that if painting on like the window or the door is too complicated, you could use this on like another piece of plastic and glass and then like peel it off and place it on there like a window cling. So that's what I'm gonna attempt, because I'm not an artist, so I feel like it'd be even more difficult to try to do it on the actual door itself. And then here I can have some trial and error, so if something doesn't go well, I'll just scrap it and start over. But I did create kind of a mini template for how big each window is, so I could place this underneath my plastic and get a rough idea of like where I want things to be and how big to make it. But there are templates online that you can print out and do the same exact thing. We'll see how good I do on my own and if I end up doing that in the end. But I am just gonna dive into it and kind of zone out, because I've had a very stressful day and I could use some arts and crafts to kind of just calm my mind right now. So let's get painting.
Now, creating this stained glass painting is a multi-step and multi-day process, because first you have to create an outline of your design with what they call the leading paint. It's much thicker, almost as if you've ever seen people decorate cookies. We're gonna have a lot of baking references in this video, I feel like, but just stick with me. If you've ever seen somebody decorate cookies, they do like the thicker outline and then they go in later with the flooding color. We're doing the exact same thing here, and I have so much respect for bakers, because this took a while and a bit of a learning curve to figure out how to get the lines perfectly straight and even. It's like a balance of pressure to speed, but eventually you will figure out the perfect combination that works for you. I will say though, and this is a tip from one of the tutorials I watched, it's a lot easier if you hover the paint a little bit above the glass you're working on. It just really helps the lines come out less shaky. And it also really helps if you find a cute stained glass art piece on the internet to trace over, because there was no way I was going to make a frog this adorable, and I will tag the original artist down in the description, so if you want to buy her actual stained glass versus going through this multi-day process yourself, you can find her art, as well as this beautiful mushroom. Seriously, I cannot wait for y'all to see the final result. It is so good.
Okay, I think we are gonna have to call it for today, because after 3 hours of squeezing that bottle, my hand is cramping and sore and I'm just done. But also I'm out of space on my plastic, and that needs like 8 hours to dry before I can fill it in with color, and that needs to dry again before I can put it on the door. So we kind of have to wait anyways, but I will do some movie editing magic so we can fast forward to the fun part.
This part of the painting process was so relaxing, and I feel really straightforward. You're just going to fill in all of your outlines with color. I like to get fancy and mix some colors to kind of make some variegated leaves on my vines. And I also did it as well with the frog because the kit I bought only had 4 colors and I wanted more variety than that. So I will link bigger kits for you down below so you have options. But I found using a toothpick was really helpful to make sure I got the paint all the way to the black outline, so that way there wasn't any gapping in your stained glass, which happened to me but wasn't super duper noticeable in the end result. And then the toothpick is also really helpful for getting out all those little air bubbles, because again, you can notice them, but it wasn't a big deal. It actually kind of added a little character to the final design. And then you're gonna let this dry yet again before we can finally get to the fun part of peeling and sticking it onto the door. After 3 days of work, we are finally ready to put all of the beautiful stained glass on the door, and I cannot wait to see the transformation. So let's get peeling and sticking. This was so satisfying, pulling up all of these clings from the plastic, because they have the texture of like a fruit roll-up. And I don't know, my inner child was just really happy doing this part, but you're gonna see in a second what I mean by making sure you get the color all the way to the black lines, because there was a little bit of gapping. Luckily, you can't really see it once it's placed, but it's something good to keep in mind. And also a really good idea to clean your door before you put your clings on, especially if you have a fur baby like me who likes to put nose prints and dog fur all over it. Yeah, my door's always a mess. Okay, the door is cling. The door is clean, and I have my window clings. So let's try to remember what my pattern was for these vines, because I'm really not sure, but I do love how like the variegated ones turned out, where I did a little bit of white. Some of them do have like bubbling in it, which isn't ideal, but we could pretend these are like monstera leaves that have like, you know, the Swiss cheese holes in them. Gosh, I'm loving it already, and I barely have like a single piece up. Luckily, because we painted these on a separate piece of glass and then peeled them up and are sticking them to the door, they are super easy to remove and rearrange as many times as you want. I really played around with the design of this for quite a while, and I'm happy to report that none of the clings lost their stickiness, none of them left a residue. It was super easy, and as you can see, coming out so freaking cute. But enough of me rambling, let's get to the final result. I can't stop smiling every time I look at this door, because this is like the exact vision I had, and I really wasn't sure if it was going to work out, but it was worth the hours of drawing little lines and filling it in and waiting for it to dry, because it's like the perfect little glimpse of what we can expect inside this magical fairy office before you actually get in there, because this is like right off of the main entrance of my house. Like, here's our front door, there's my ring light, and then like my whole living room. So before it was just like, oh, a black door, I wonder where that leads. But now we have some intrigue. Now we're like, oh, there's like vines and a mushroom and a frog. Like, what magical portal am I going into? And then it's the rest of my magical fairy office, which we ain't done yet, y'all. I'm still waiting for that major upgrade, hint, to get in the mail. And I have another craft that involves some spray painting. So thank goodness that the sun came out, if you can see, because I have to go out there and spray paint for a little bit, because tomorrow's craft is much easier and much faster than the past 2 we did. So both of these seemed like way too much patience, way too much power tools, way too much effort. This next one, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Today's DIY is so simple and so quick that I don't think we can even really call it a craft. I think it falls more under the category of decorating, because we are adding some vines and some string lights and maybe also some golden butterflies to these pink curtains that I've had for years. I love them. They just needed a little bit more whimsy. But first, I need my wife to come in here and hang an actual curtain rod above the windows, because right now it's just tension rods, which have worked, but
I think they will look a lot more fancy if we do an actual curtain rod, and also they won't be dragging on the ground anymore. So I'm gonna have her come in here with some power tools, get that up, and then we will get to decorating and DIYing. And now for the fun part of adding all of the whimsical decor, since my wife did such a fabulous job putting up this curtain rod.
Like I said, today's DIY is easy peasy lemon squeezy. It is literally only 2 steps. The first one is to string your fairy lights around the curtain rod, and then I pulled a little bit extra down between the pleats of the curtains to make it look like fireflies hanging up there, or at least that was my intention. And then you're going to take your fake ivy and just pull it through the holes of your curtain. I did this at varying lengths to make it look a little bit more organic and natural. And that's literally it. Now there is a fun optional step. If you want to add some butterflies, some fake moss, like any extra whimsy you want to add, go for it.
I'm also really happy that I splurged for fairy lights with a remote, so that way I don't have to climb up there and hit the battery box. Anytime I want to turn them on, I can just use the little buttons from my desk. Ooh, I like that kind of soft glow. I will show you what this looks like at night, because right now with how bright and beautiful it is outside, it's kind of hard to see it with the weird lighting on the camera, but I'll show you in a little bit how they look, because I think this is the little bit of whimsy I needed over in this corner. But also I will link these fairy lights down in the description if you also want a nifty set with a little remote. And with that, we are done with today's craft, which honestly I thought was going to be so much quicker and easier to do because it's just hanging ivy and lights, right? But it was so tangled that I spent the majority of the time just unknotting it so that way I could hang it. But once I finally got it into individual strands, it was super easy. But I still have a ton of ivy left. Like I bought 2 different packets of it and maybe used half a pack between these 2 curtains, which I'm loving. It was the touch of whimsy we needed over here. But I'm thinking maybe we do a part 2 to this craft with the ivy, because I have some ideas of how to make it look like this office is truly being taken over by nature and deep within a whimsical fairy forest.
All you need for this craft is some faux ivy and some push pins. Literally, you're just going to drape it anywhere you want, over your mirrors, in the cracks, in the corners, like just go crazy.
I just had a genius idea. So you may remember last year we DIY'd this like flower lamp together, and I love how it turned out because it was just one of those like boring black Walmart lamps that like everybody had in their college dorm, and we took some green tape and wrapped it all around it to make it look like a stem, and then I cut the actual lampshade to look like a flower petal, and I made a leaf, and I think it's cute, but I think it would be even better if we took some of this ivy and had it climbing up it. Like, oh, it's gonna look so good in this corner. I'm so happy because, like I said, for a while I've been looking at this and I was like, I like it, I don't love it. I think this is gonna take it to love. I think this might be the biggest impact for the smallest amount of money yet in all of the DIY crafts I have done, because literally that ivy pack was $10. I didn't even bust into the second one I got yet, so we could do a lot more damage here. But I love how it looks like nature is literally like breaking through the cracks of my office and about to take over any moment. That's the vibe we are going for in here. Anyways, though, I need to get to work and send some letters out to my business besties because I just got these cute stickers in the mail. So I'm going to write all the new members a little letter thanking them for joining our community and sharing how excited I am to grow our businesses together this next quarter. So I'm going to get to that. But if you are looking for a community online of like-minded entrepreneurs who are growing their business the cozy way, the spacious way, the soft way, the way that still allows you to take the day off to DIY your office into a whimsical fairy forest instead of feeling like you always need to be sitting behind your desk hustling, this is the space for you. So I will leave all the details linked below, and I will see you tomorrow for our last DIY craft that I think we can definitely quantify that one as a craft. It's not decorating. We're getting out the hot glue gun. We're getting out the paints. We're gonna get messy. I hope you're ready to get super crafty today because we are using all the things. I'm talking paints, hot glue, and even popsicle sticks because we are going to be transforming all of those boring light switch covers and outlet plates into magical fairy doors.
For this craft, you are going to need whatever you can find in your craft closet. Paint, hot glue, moss, leaves, popsicle sticks. We're doing all the things, but the first and easiest one is just painting onto the light switches. So I used normal acrylic paint and then sealed it with Mod Podge, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. And you'll notice that I painted those pink flowers and then hated them, so removed them. We're allowed to make mistakes and we're allowed to learn and grow from them. The second one is going to be decoupage, if I'm saying that right. So basically you just cut out little pictures from magazines. These are some flowers from a seed catalog I get every year. And then you're going to do a coat of Mod Podge on the bottom, like directly onto your light switch panel. And then you're going to put whatever that little picture is, and then you're going to seal it with Mod Podge again and cut off the excess. I've also seen people do this with really decorative napkins, which I think would be a great idea, especially if you have like a pretty patterned one. So check your Dollar Tree and TJ Maxx for that. But once you cut them off, you just seal those edges and you are good to go. And then our third light switch we did together is the most complex and took me probably hours, but it's so stinking cute. We are making a legitimate fairy door. So I cut some popsicle sticks down to the size of the outlet cover, and then I glued them all together, as well as cut out some little trim pieces for around the edges and glued those on as well. And then fully painted it with just some brown paint that I mixed together. Added a little extra black paint in the edges and the corners to like give it some weathering and make it almost look like wood grain. And then we got to the fun part of decorating. So I made this cute little welcome fairy sign to hang on the front door and just found some old twine in my craft closet, glued that on there, cut apart some fake florals, glued that on as well. Next, I found a little button and painted it pink to match the sign, and then hot glued that on, add a little extra moss. Literally, it's like whatever you can find that's tiny and cute, go ahead and glue it on your fairy door. Now to make this an actual functioning fairy door that opens and closes so you can access your outlets, I had the genius idea, after hours of contemplating how the heck I was going to do this, to use command strips. So I glued one side onto the back of the outlet cover, and then I attached the other side to the inside of my fairy door. And I forgot to film this, but I did add a little Velcro command strip on the other side to help keep it closed. And with that, we are ready to install these on the wall so you can see just how cute they are.
I'm still like so genuinely surprised that the command strips worked because my wife and I were literally walking around the house last night looking at anything with a little hinge that we could possibly take, and of course didn't find anything. So I am happy it was such a simple and just innovative solution, which is honestly kind of how I've been running my entire life in business for the past decade, just crossing your fingers, seeing what works, and sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. That is so much cuter than a freaking outlet cover. I'm not gonna lie, these felt like so much time and effort for such tiny little projects that probably nobody is ever going to notice, but those who do are gonna be so delighted in the details because it's literally like a scavenger hunt of like, oh, there's a fairy on a mushroom over in that corner, and there's sunflowers peeking out over there, and then there's a whole hidden ass fairy door behind my desk. I think it is the like perfect equivalent of whimsy, having these little tiny hidden details everywhere. So I really love them. I think they came out absolutely great. The only thing I'm kind of sad about is a couple months ago, I thrifted these mini frames with the intention of like putting them around the light switch covers as if they were mini paintings, and it just didn't really work with any of the designs I did. So I'll have to find another use for this. But overall, super happy with it. Super glad that I got to try so many different art forms. Like I've never decoupaged before, if that's how you say it. I haven't really ever worked with popsicle sticks, like probably since elementary school. And I don't do a lot of acrylic painting. I'm more so a watercolor girly. So I'm glad I got outside of my creative comfort zone today. And tomorrow we're doing the same thing for our last craft because it is a medium I've never worked with before. And we're just gonna figure it out together. So I will see you there. I think today's craft might be our most magical, but also our most messy because we are going to make some mushrooms out of air dry clay. Good old Crayola, I feel like a little kid playing with Play-Doh, and then a little bit of paint as well to, you know, make them actually look like mushrooms. And I'm not gonna lie, I already made some of these last night because they take 24 hours to dry, but I will do it again and get my hands all messy and dirty to show you how I made these cute little mushrooms. And then we're gonna paint them and then install them on the walls and have our grand reveal for the Whimsical Fairy Office Makeover Part 2. So let's get to it.
I'm just gonna start off by saying this might be your new favorite cozy hobby because I found this so relaxing and so fun. But to get started making your mushroom top, you're just gonna roll some clay into a ball and then press up in the middle and down on the sides so you get like a mushroom dome shape. Then I took a metal tool to make little lines underneath it, kind of like mushroom gills. This is also going to help the stem attach to the top of it, which we'll talk about later because I really struggled with that. And then I took a little bit of water to just help smooth out the top and get rid of all of my fingerprints. And then we repeated a similar process to make the base. So you're going to take more clay, roll it into a log, and then I personally took some push pins and shoved it into one side of the mushroom base. I know this looks inappropriate and weird if you have a dirty mind like me. Anyways though, rolled it again to get rid of any wrinkles, put a little bit of water on there, and then I curved it almost at a 90-degree angle so that way the mushroom would stand upright when I push this into the wall. And then you're going to let this dry overnight. Or if you're impatient, you could put it into your oven or dehydrator at the lowest setting because apparently clay can get too dry and crumble. So we're talking like 200 degrees for 15 minutes. Once everything is dry, you can then go in and paint. So I'm doing a classic mushroom look with the red top and the little white dots. But I feel like you can handle this step, so I'm going to stop talking and just let you enjoy some painting montages. Remember before when I said I made a mistake? It was thinking that I could glue the tops of the bases. Clay does not like this. It likes to be one. So instead of doing this and having them falling apart like they did to me, instead you're going to crosshatch both pieces of wet clay and then glue them together with water and let them dry together. But other than that little mishap, these were super easy and so stinking cute.
So sadly, the mushrooms I made with little magnets aren't strong enough to hold themselves up on my filing cabinet because I thought this was gonna be so cute, just have this whole thing like covered in mushrooms with this beautiful pothos hanging down, but I'm gonna have to redo these with stronger magnets. But luckily, I have tons of air dry clay. So it is going to be a month of making little creatures and little mushrooms for my office, and I am totally okay with that. But I think
that about does it for today's craft. So I'm gonna clean up my office and we're going to do a final reveal of all of the whimsical fairy crafts we've done together. And I can't wait to show you because honestly, the little details have made the biggest difference. I was just sitting here putting the final edits on the video that you're literally watching right now, and I heard somebody drop something off on the doorstep, and I really, really hope it's something we've been waiting all week for because I didn't think it was gonna get here in time. So let's go grab it and unbox it because this is gonna make the whole office come together. It is literally the perfect rug. Like, look, there's little acorns and a little bird, and it's like mossy green. It is gonna look so good. So much better than millennial gray rug. But I cannot move this desk by myself. I have to wait till my wife gets home. And that's gonna be really hard for me. It is so freaking good. I'm obsessed with it. It is like the official equivalent of like girl boss. We went from girl boss to girl boss. And now we are ready for the final Whimsical Fairy Office reveal. And with that, I think we are done with part 2 of this Whimsical Fairy Office makeover. I am absolutely in love with it. Like I said, the little details really took it over the top. And it's just crazy to think like 8 years ago, my first office was just my college desk. And here we are now with an entire room fully decorated to like my inner child's content. And I'm really, really grateful, one, for this space, but also for you watching this video all the way to the end. I know it was a long one and you're a real one. So comment this emoji down below so I know that you are truly one of my besties, and so that way I can thank you. And I guess I will see you in the next magical video. If you subscribe, if you're not subscribed yet, consider it. We do a lot of whimsical stuff like this, as well as cozy business hacks, slow living inspiration, gardening, all of the things. So if that's your vibe, consider joining our community, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay magical.